Welcome everybody to another brand new episode of our Paranormal Stories. This week we have a special guest with us, none other than our friend and our co-partner with Loving Whispers, Renee Marie. Renee also is a part of Upstate Supernatural. She does investigations with us, and she was a speaker last year at the expo. She'll be a speaker this year as well. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Renee in.
Hi, Dom. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on here. But
go ahead.
Yep, I was gonna say, Renee, if you can let everybody kind of know who you are and kind of what you do, because you do a plethora of things within the field and within your life in general. But if you'd just like to start out and kind of give a little hint of some of the things you do.
Okay, well, I'm a psychic medium. I've been that all my life, and I really embrace it because I don't call it a gift, it's an ability, because everybody has the ability to do this. So it's an ability. I've been it all my life. I enjoy being a psychic medium. I am a spiritual guide and a leader, an instructor. I do many things from doing distant clearings and distant attachment removals to counseling. And first of all, I'm a mom. I do all of that when I have time. I actually just received another case today that I think we're going to go on, Dom. Hopefully later on in, I think it was August this month.
Right. Yeah, I remember talking about it earlier.
Yeah. So, just many things. But I embrace it. I embrace being able to help people and help guide them a little bit and lead them to where they need to be. And most foremost, so with that, I really enjoy being able to help people with the grieving that they're going through. So while they're grieving the loss of somebody, I'm able to help them to move the process along a little bit quicker. So.
Now, you also, I'd like to acknowledge this as well. When people ask, who's Renee? Renee, when they're asking me as an individual with the team and everything else, I would tag in another light as well. You're an inspirationalist. You're very inspiring, very positive. So I'd like to throw that out there too.
Thank you.
But
I never used to be.
What kind of drew you into getting into the paranormal? What kind of happened to push you into this?
I investigated a lot when I was a teenager, and I'd bring my friends a lot along the way and not tell them, but we'd go to a lot of haunted locations in Adirondacks, and talking friends outright that I was a psychic medium, but I think a lot of them had a clue, so it was just one of those things where I didn't say it, but they knew because we were all so close, and they were all really into it too. So, you're talking, that many years ago, but we always had a good time, and as I got older, I just continued, helping people, maybe how do you know? And it's well, just, I do, don't worry about it. And as I went through, as I went through my marriage, he wasn't really much of a believer. So it made it a little bit rough, and I saw for a vision that was really horrible when I looked into a coworker's eyes one day at work, and it was like a double murder. And I saw how it was going to happen, and I can remember going home and saying, to Spirit, how could you show me something so horrible like that? How can you show that to me? That was gruesome. It was horrible, and I don't appreciate that. And then less than 2 weeks later, it happened. And I blamed myself. I blamed myself myself for not saying anything to these young girls, for not trying to divert it, so I tried to shut down all of my abilities and my skills. And it did really good for about 5 or 6 years, and then it came back like a brick wall and said, they were like, "You're done. You're back. You're with us. We are not going to let you sit back and not do this anymore." And then that's when I heard, we can't help everybody. We can't save everybody. And that's the path it was supposed to be. Even though it hurt me to know all of that transpiring, I guess it made me feel a little bit better. So then in 2011, I started my radio show, which was actually called Angelic Comfort Show. And I started out with more about the angels and everything, and a paranormal team wanted to come on. And I was like, why not? I kind of do it on my own anyway. Why not come on the show? And it was a big success. And so then I changed the name to Renee Live back in the beginning of, it was 2012, of January 2012. And I've kept it that way since then. And that was it. So at that point, I started getting more involved with teams and helping teams and guiding teams. And but I never really found a team I wanted to be a part of. I mean, like I help out with Mid-South. Down there, they used to be called Expedition Unknown down in Memphis. And I help them out a lot. I help out Pain Paranormal, which is Pennsylvania, Indiana Paranormal. And I've been on investigations with both of them, but Upstate Supernatural is the first actual team that I've been a part of locally that I felt was definitely worth being a part of. And it wasn't for fame, it wasn't for glory. Having a lot of compassion, some great research skills and investigation skills, that it's been a real pleasure to be on your team, Dom. And there's no ego, and I like that. So
I greatly appreciate all that. I remember honestly last year after the expo, we've had other people that have asked to be a part of the team that were psychic mediums and things like that, and I've always been cautious. I've always been very leery about it personally. But when we got to know you, we got to see the energy you put out there, the positive, just the positivity and the insight. All of us, I remember having that conversation with every team member because I wanted to be, one unit, and everybody's like, yes, 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 yes. You have to ask her. You have to see if she'd be interested. And, we all were excited after all of that to really have you on board.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I love being a part of it because you guys really do put out the effort, and there's a lot of compassion, and your investigation style is a lot like mine, and it's very comfortable. It just flowed ever since that first investigation we went on right after the expo that evening. So thank you for inviting me to that. And you're sneaky, but I'm really glad because I really enjoyed that, and it just flowed that night. Everything just kind of flowed, and I knew nothing. I knew nothing about them all. I knew nothing about the spirits that were there or what we were going to face because a lot. Dom going on investigations with me, I don't want to know that information. I would rather go in and listen to spirit and listen to the spirits and what they have to say and let them tell me their story and then compare it, to see if I've got confirmation. And sometimes their story is a little bit different than what, has been traveled down from person to person to person. So, yeah, it's really cool. Thank you.
Now you own your own radio station. You have a lot of things going on with that as well. And um, I think your radio station, personally, I think it's a beautiful idea. I think it's absolutely fantastic how open it is to just about any genre that may be interested. And
Hmm.
I'd love to kind of see where that kind of took place for you to really come up with that idea and kind of turn it into what it is.
The need to always help people. And I love music. I play the piano. I play the flute. I play some percussion. I play different wind instruments. I think I've tried a lot of them. But in general, I just love music. And music is one of the things that really increases a person's vibrational level, no matter what. As long as you stay away from like songs that are like really sappy and make you sad, but music in general, it boosts up your energy level. And that's what we need is we need to be at a higher vibrational energy level and we need to feel good. Um, so one day I just decided it was time to start a station and help out indie artists, and the ones that I do pull into the network, I hear from spirit that they are up and coming, they're going to make it, and give them that little extra boost that they need and that little bit more PR, and they'll make it. And we have some that are right there on the edge, ready to break into the mainstream, and their music is all um, their own. The words, the music. They don't do very many cover music. The music that I pull in is all their own creation, and it is all different types of genre to hit to everybody. Get everybody to whatever it is that they like. And then we have the shows on. I have about approximately 20 shows. So yeah, and it's really cool. So a lot of the artists are really up and coming. So they don't. I screen a lot of music when I have the time. I listen to a lot of artists and give them feedback, whether or not they're coming on or not. So I think that, just in general, like I said, those that are on the network are about ready to make it big. They're about ready to break that into that mainstream market. And so this gives me the opportunity to help introduce them, and I get to listen to some pretty awesome music and meet some really great people. That really makes me happy. So great people, a lot of them are very grateful and appreciative. Um, I just can't say enough about them. You know.
And when it comes to when you're doing your psychic medium abilities or gifts, a lot of people call it different things. I've heard paranormal gifts and so many other different terminologies for it. But what would you say is like your probably favorite things to do with what you do within that realm? Because I know there's tarot cards and there's actual readings, past life progressions. There's tons of stuff that's out there.
Right. Well, I do all of that. I think in a lot of ways, I think that when I work with a person, I think it all kind of works together. Um, it gets me to know them, helps them to know themselves. But I think the part that I really like is I will cry with a client um, when they've missed a loved one, and it comes through just so clear. And then we go through like this angelic hug where they can actually feel their loved one holding them or touching them during a session, especially like one-on-one when I'm there in person with them. And just to see them transform and how beautiful it is to know that we broke through that barrier of the grieving point is so beautiful that when they start crying, I start crying. So I think that's my favorite, is helping those who are just stuck in that grieving process, because nobody can tell a person how long to grieve, right? It's going to be different for everybody. But people seem to be impatient, and we're all different. We're all different. You know, I have a girlfriend who lost a son tragically. And people for the longest time were like, you know, seriously, you need to move on. You're stuck in this. You're focused on it too much. That was her son. She gave birth to that boy. And who has any right to tell another person how long it's going to take for them to grieve? How, you know, a year is not enough. You know, you carried that child for 9 months. You raised that child until they were close to 30 years old, and they died tragically suddenly. Most parents think, I'm going to pass on before my children. They don't want to see their children die. So who has that right to tell another person that you've grieved long enough? Whether it be a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a best friend. Nobody has that right. So I think helping them at that point when they're ready and they approach me and we go through a session, and being able to help them break that barrier so they can move forward is really important to me. So, and that's one of my favorite things.
And I do see a question as well in the chat, and I think you kind of it ties into what you were just talking about, actually. But the question was from Starry Night, and it was, is there any suggestions on how to get over complicated grief?
Grief is a loss, right? When we grieve, it's over the loss of a person, an animal, or something. We can grieve over losing a job. We can grieve over anything that's important to us in our lives at a certain point in time. So the grieving process is all going to be the same. It's all the same. You know, you're going to not want to accept it. You're going to get angry. You know, the whole grieving process, all the steps are the same, no matter what it is. Grieving, to grieve is to mourn over the loss of something or someone. To get over it, it depends on, Starry, what the grief is over. Whether it be the loss of a person. Like I said, there's no time limit, but sometimes going through that angelic hold or embrace, being able to hear your loved one, feel them. I know another girlfriend lost her dad, had a really hard time, and she said to me after work, I need to talk to you. We need to go and you got to help me. Please help me. So we went for a walk around and we found a big tree. And the first thing is you need to ground and balance, you know. And she did. And we stood up against a tree. We went through that exercise. And then I said, I smell roses. And do you smell roses? And she's like, yes, I do. And she started crying. She goes, oh my God, it's my dad. My dad used to work here at the school, as did my mom. And my dad, on every holiday, would bring all the women a single stem rose to say thank you for all the hard work that you do for our children in the district and here at school. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, there you go, you know. And she just recently lost her mom, so we went through this again just a couple of weeks ago. So to say what it is, it just depends, honey, on what you are ready for and the different signs of what you see, hear, smell, feel. Things within your home moving, they're trying to get your attention. Sometimes when we're in the grieving process too, we overlook a lot of the signs of when they're there. The first thing I would say is to ask for them to come to you in your dreams, to start it that way, and you will remember it because you're actually with them in your dreams, and that will be the first step. So that would be the first step to help with any sort of grievance. Or Like, say that you lost a job. That too. Ask your guides, your spirits, your loved ones on the other side to help you, to show you, to hear their message about it. So when you hear the messages they have, then it helps. That helps for you to piece things together and to move forward.
Okay. And for any individuals that maybe they have abilities, they have gifts, and maybe they don't know, the exact extent of how strong they are with them, or how to develop them. Is there certain things that you can give as advice for those individuals that may be new to learning they have abilities, or new to finding out that they have them?
Just let it happen. The more that you try, they're not going to give you or move you forward in anything unless you are ready or they feel that you are ready. So embrace what it is you can do now and let it flow, let it happen in, like anything, divine timing. When they feel you're ready, then they will advance you. You can go on and try to learn everything that is more advanced, but there's like almost like a spiritual steps that happen, and they're not going to introduce you to them until they feel you're ready. And then there's a lot of things that you're not going to always advance to where other people are, because in this lifetime, it's already predetermined whether or not you're going to advance to a certain level. And the same with people who don't have the abilities. They may not ever. And so, if they don't have it, and that's where you might find where a lot of your skeptics are. They can't feel it. They can't hear it. They can't sense it. I think you're full of shit. Excuse me, but, that's what they're going to say, because they're not going to in this lifetime. So.
And this is our paranormal stories, so I'm gonna jump in that on there as well, and it's more about you and kind of your journey through the paranormal and what's kind of gotten you there. But also, a lot of people are always curious about, what is the craziest paranormal experience you ever had. Whether it's out in the field or just at home, or what is the craziest paranormal experience you yourself have gone through?
When I went to do a clearing a few years ago of a residence, and I walked in the door, and it was a breezy day outside. The windows were all open in the house. The ceiling fans were going, and there was no air movement in the home itself. And I was like, oh my God. And it was so heavy and thick. And I walked in, and the first thing I said is, "Where's the Ouija board?" And it was my girlfriend, and she goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Where's the Ouija board?" And she went, I don't know. It's been probably 10 years since we used it." I said, "So you do have one in here?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "You need to find it." "Well, do I have to?" "Yeah, you need to get it out. I need to look at this Ouija board." And she was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "In that closet right there. Open that door and pull it out. It's in that closet." And she went, "It's going to take a while." I said, "Get in that closet and pull it out." And you want to talk about oppressive energy. It was horrible. Very heavy and thick air. She found it after 5 minutes. She pulled it out. She went to open it up to show me, and I kid you not, it growled. It literally growled. And I said to her, "Seriously?" She goes, "What the hell was that?" And I said, "It growled at me. It growled." She goes, "People aren't going to believe this shit." And I said, "Well, probably not, but it just did. So now the first thing we need to do is dispose of this, and dispose of it the right way." So we did. And then we came inside, and back inside, and I started doing the clearing. And There was actual ectoplasma in the basement on the floor. It wasn't a wet spot from um, the cellar being damp, because the cellar wasn't damp. It was near no water pipes. It was not, the rest of the floor in certain areas was not leaking. This was not near any exterior walls where water would come in through. It was actually ectoplasma that was down, actually under the stairwell, down in the basement. So took out the holy water and sea salt, took care of that, did the basement. Still had a hard time with declaring it with this malevolent spirit. And I said, I'm going to do something I've never done before. You're going to attach to me, get on me, because you're not coming back here. And she was freaking out, and I'm like, I can't have that either. Get on me, and I'll dispose of it outside of my home. So it did instantly. It took like, woohoo, she's letting me on her, like kind of like somebody who would be arrogant in the physical world, And it felt like this heavy cloak, like a cloak of lead over my head, my shoulders, and down. And I wasn't letting it in, but I was keeping it at bay. But I wanted it to ride on me to get it away from that home, which was, the portal was opened via the Ouija board. And the residual energy in the home was awful also. So I drove home. It was only 1.5 miles. And let me tell you how I stayed awake. I don't know. That was one of the things where you just feel really tired suddenly. We're starting to really drain you. I got home and took out my sage and my Palo Santo and just went right here out on my deck until it was gone. And then I do what I do to make sure that it's not going to return ever again to bother anybody. And that's what I did. But let me tell you, it was like, I slept good that night. I was like absolutely exhausted. And I was 4 hours in that home trying to get it out of there. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I shouldn't be doing, but I'm comfortable in knowing that I can get rid of this. And my property where I am is sacred Native American grounds and battleground. And so when I first moved on, I was having a lot of Native American activity, angry Native American activity in my home. And I took care of that and gave back to them, gave back to the earth. And it wasn't anything that I had done. It was just they were angry. They were angry, and they were going to, like, you're going to listen. And so that's what happened. So they're very protective of me here where I live. And that they also assisted that day with it. So it was pretty freaky.
Now, as an investigator and as a psychic medium as well, are there certain devices, tools, things that you like to try to utilize when you go out and investigate, or just for your own personal use within the paranormal?
Well, I like to use myself, my own senses, my own abilities, listening to spirit, and then I like my dowsing rods. The digital recorder is a good one. I'm not tech savvy, you know that. So I don't usually get into that, but I like to just utilize myself and the simple things in life, and the camera, that type of just simple equipment, just simple basics. Not even, I have a K2 meter. Do I use it? No. I'll pull it out maybe to see where there might be a lot of energy running from electricity or something like that. It's going to trip, microwaves will trip it. So, but I like utilizing myself, my own abilities, and like I said, digital recorder, cameras, and my dowsing rods.
And within the paranormal, there's quite a few people, and I've dealt with it myself, with skeptics and things like that. And I'm
Hmm.
sure with psychic mediums, you probably even have paranormal investigators that are skeptical of the gifts that you have and the things that you can do. Um, is there certain things maybe within the field you would love to see maybe change or grow upon?
First thing I like to say, it's not my place or it's not anybody else's place to make somebody believe in the other side or paranormal activity or why things are happening the way that they're happening. That's not my responsibility. It's not my duty. It's not my job. It'd be like somebody throwing the Bible at you and trying to force their thoughts, their beliefs, and their opinions on you. So it's the same thing with the paranormal. People are either they're going to believe or they're not going to believe. Um, and I don't argue that anymore. I don't like Alan comes on my show a lot. Alan Gilbert, and he's skeptic, and he will, we'll banter back and forth and fun, but in all actuality, I mean, he's either going to believe or he's not going to believe, and he has really good, strong points. So to try to make somebody believe something, I'm going to tell people to back off. It's no different than, like I said, somebody forcing their religion on you or, trying to make you eat something that you don't want to eat. When everybody's ready, then it will happen. What I would like to see within the paranormal field is a lot of the nonsense to stop, of the bashing of other teams, of other psychics, of other investigators, stuff like that. And I'd like to see it grow more. Like I would like to see the um, where you instigate the spirits or get mad at get mad and demand answers from them. Um, if I'm in, Dom, if you come up to me and you're on, we're on the street, I'm sitting on a bench, and you come up to me and you start demanding answers from me, and I don't know you from Adam, do you think I'm going to be like really happy to meet you? I'm not. I'm going to be very upset. I could be the nicest person in the world, but you're still going to tick me off, right? It's no different. It's no different. They still have the personality from when they were living. They were still at one point human in the physical world. All of that DNA, all of those actions, what they liked, what they disliked, their personality from the last lifetime, from previous lifetimes, it's all in their spiritual DNA. So you treat them no differently than you would meeting a stranger on the street and being compassionate. And that's how you get your answers. That's when the answers are going to come. So I would like to see that more within the field. I would like to see people showing a little bit more respect for the other side, respect for each other, other investigators, and, and those who want to do investigations. I would like to really see them not be what I call a couch potato investigator from watching the shows. They're for entertainment. A real investigation does not go that way. Okay, so I don't think that you can watch a TV show and jump right into an investigation. It doesn't work that way. Okay, there's a lot to learn and a lot of research. So hook up with another team, another individual, and start learning the ropes the right way. And those are just the different things I like to see with advancement within the paranormal field. Because until we start getting all of that, which probably will never really happen, and I'm being honest, then it's not going to advance to where we would like to really see to get the answers that we need.
Now, a lot of teams, and I've seen this, and I personally don't agree with it, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. But a lot of people are labeling everything demons and everything demonic. What is your viewpoint? I mean, you, I learn a lot just from our conversations and from when we're investigating. I learn a lot on the angelic side of things, and in my own brain and in the logic of my head, I think if there's angels, there's got to be demons too. But have you ever came across anything that was possibly in that realm of the demons or demonic stuff, or do you think it's a bunch of hogwash?
I did once. um, it scared the living daylights out of me, to be honest with you, when I was done. Um, because I needed help after myself, because I don't deal with that realm. Do I think even 50% of the hauntings are demonic? No. Do I feel that if they are, do I feel that a lot of the cases people bring them in? Yes, I do. 98% of your hauntings are not demonic. Now, if I'm to get your attention and I can't get your attention, I'm going to start doing things that are going to make you pay attention, right? I might move things. I might drop things. If I can get something to go across the room, I might do it. Only because I want you to pay attention, because I have something I need to say as a spirit. Sometimes it takes a lot of energy to be able to communicate, to be able to move something or do something to get your attention, hence scratches. Okay? Do I believe that 3 scratches or hearing 3 knocks is mocking the Trinity? Most cases, no. And this is common sense. When you go to somebody's house, and I'll hear it here every now and then, and you go to let somebody know, I'm here, I'm going to rap on the door or knock on the door. How many times do you typically knock on the door? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm here. Right? It's no different. Again, the spiritual DNA has all of our traits, all of everything about us within it from each lifetime. So, like I said, do I feel that all these cases are demonic? No. I think it's just a scare tactic. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a way to get attention. Like I said, I came across it once, and it was doing a remote viewing and investigation with them down in Memphis. And it was scary for all of us, and I had no choice at that point but to take care of it, because there were family members present, which I don't really agree with having family or anybody present that could harm or freak out or scare. That's the one thing we don't want to do, is to scare people. So I had a decision to make at that point in time. Do I scare them and tell the team to get out and not go back? But then again, like I said, the family's there. Or do I take care of it and deal with the consequences after? And I dealt with it. And that's only because I didn't want to scare the family more than they already were. And it was actually one of the gatekeepers to a not so favorable portal. And that one was opened by a family member. What was in there was brought in by a family member and kept a bunch of spirits, including loved ones that had recently passed within a couple of years, locked in that home. So they were, at that point, they were able to move on. So I've only dealt with it once, and I haven't since that point, and I will not deal with demonic cases if there are any. But like I said, 98% of your cases, maybe even 99, are not demonic. It's I feel it's just a fad. Like I said, a way to boost everybody's adrenaline, to boost fear and everything. Do they exist? Of course they exist. But they don't just show up for the sake of showing up. They're not just going to come in and haunt for the sake of haunting. They come in because they were welcomed in. So, by somebody at some point in time.
And we're coming on the end stretch of the show tonight, but I do see some questions in the chat as well. This is from Ed Fern. Thank you, Ed, for your question. Actually, so I look at the camera, I'm going to hold this up. Is the tunnel of light a trap, or is it a trick on us somehow?
Really interesting question. The last probably 5 or 6 years, I've thought about that myself. What is the white light? A lot of spirits don't want to go cross into the white light. What is it? And I'm going to be honest with you. When you're born, what are you born into? Usually a white, stark room, right? Sterile, white lights on you. You're entering into the white light, the birth canal, or being born again. So if you have just passed on, in a lot of cases, you're not ready to be born again, to start a new life. Okay? You have a lot of things that you need to do and finish before you can reincarnate. And all these people that are forcing these spirits to go into the white light are actually causing premature reincarnations. And I really do believe that. When we different dimensions, we can go higher, and each dimension looks different. Okay, but it's pretty dark there. I'll be honest with you, it's pretty dark. And you have people who have near-death experiences that before they can cross into this white light, like they'll see heaven or whatever their perception is of where it is that they've gone to. They see their family, their loved ones, but they never get through that white light. It's not their time. They're pulled back. So spirits can come and go as they want into the physical world, but to be reincarnated is another step. Okay, so when you pass through that white light, I really honestly do believe that you're being reincarnated into a new life, a new body. And that's why those people who are near-death experiences do not complete going through, because it's not their time to be deceased, number one. But then again, they're not going to be jumping into a new body. And so that's what I feel. And you'll talk to some people who, I've known quite a few people who've said, I wasn't supposed to be born yet. What do you mean you weren't supposed to be born yet? I wasn't chosen. I didn't choose to come in this lifetime. I was kind of put here into this body, into this family. This wasn't supposed to be my life path. So before people go around deciding that they're going to take it upon themselves to cross people into the white light, know what you're doing first. Because these people have some pretty horrendous lives. They don't feel right in that body. They don't feel right within society. They feel lost, a lot of them. They have emotional issues. And here we are taking it upon ourselves to cross all these people. Spirits aren't really necessarily trapped unless, like that one case, they can come and go. You know, it's not our responsibility to do that. We can help them heal. We can, help release those blocks. We can comfort them. We can help them realize that they can move from one place to another. But to cross into the white light, I would tell people to please stop.
And the question I have for you is, a lot of us as individuals in the paranormal, a lot of us, even within our lives, what is your message that you would like to try to put out there for the paranormal, for society? A message of hope or just your insight, wisdom?
When we stay grounded and balanced, when we stay positive, stay away from drama, release the ego, and start getting along with each other, putting differences aside, awakening to our own possibilities, then we can work together to come up with the solutions that we need within our own lives or our own world, within society, what we're facing, like here in the United States. And you put all that aside and look at people for who they are as people, beautiful souls. Everybody's scared. And work together, like I said, putting aside those differences, then we'll see change. Until then, there's not going to be change. There's more. I just had more. It disappeared. Help each other. I think that's really important. Don't wait for a major catastrophe. Focus on your own world. And when I talk about your own world, I'm not talking about the whole world. I'm talking about right here, your immediate world. Yourself, your immediate family, and your loved ones. Don't worry about everybody else. Focus on yourself. Change starts within. If you want to see change within your own world, then you need to start with yourself, with at home. Minding our own business, staying out of the drama, leading a positive life, and leading by example. When you can accomplish that, then other people will start following. It's like a domino effect. Then the changes within the world, the whole world, will start happening. But it's got to start somewhere, and it starts within you. So if you don't like the way that things are going, you need to start changing yourself. Because what we see is a reflection back of who we are. And if you don't like that reflection of what you see, then that change, like I said, is something that you need to change. It's your shadow self. It needs to change within you. So start with yourself, and everybody else will follow. Don't expect others to change. We can't help everybody. We can't heal everybody. It has to start within themselves too. So start with yourself, your own personal world, setting the example, and the rest will follow.
That was absolutely a beautiful message.
Thank you.
And somebody did that when I was on a show with them, and I really like that idea. To get everybody has a message. Everybody has something internally that drives them to be a part of the field or be a part of the things that they love and endure. The next thing I have for you is if you can let everybody kind of know where they can find you, some of the things that you may have on your YouTube channel, some of the events that you're going to possibly be going to or talking at, the things that are coming up for you.
Well, let me see. You can reach me through Angelic Comfort by Renee Marie on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter under Renee Live Radio. You can find me on Facebook under Renee Live Radio. You can go to my website, which is www.angelic-comfort.com, and contact me through there. You can contact me through angeliccomfort@yahoo.com. If you go to Diversity Broadcasting Network, you can contact me through the contact page. I'll get the email. There's several ways of really getting a hold of me. There's even times where I'll just get a message in my head, from spirit, or I'll pick up your telepathic communication, and you might suddenly start seeing little bits of me around the internet. Then go ahead and contact me. There's many ways, but those are probably the most favorable ways to get in touch with me.
And what upcoming you have upcoming events? Because I know you also go to different venues and things like that.
I do. I'm going to Snipe, which is Southern New York Paranormal Expo, and it's actually a film fest that's going to be in the end of September. And then Upstate Supernatural's Expo, which will be October 14th, and there's a couple of more that I'm looking into. So the one in September is in Owego, New York. The one in October is at Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn, New York. And wherever I seem to pop up, if there's one, if I get invited, then I'll go. I'm hoping that Rusty will start doing one up Watertown Way or, northern New York, which would be cool in the Adirondacks. So he's taken a year off, so maybe he'll be doing that too. But I tend to go fairly local, within a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours max. Just because, this isn't the only thing I do. I work for the school district full time. That's the Monday through Friday job. I'm a mom. The kids always come first, and own the radio station and Angelic Comfort. So there's a list of, like a chain of command of what my other responsibilities are too. So I keep pretty busy. Pretty busy.
And I don't see this in the chat, but I think it's a fantastic question. When you're doing your services, you don't have to tell any of the prices or anything like that. But if you'd like to give a shout out for those services that you do, I find it very fascinating with the remote readings and things like that, or doing it through a telephone. And I'd love if you could kind of just give people a little more information about the services you have. So
Okay.
if they're interested in contacting you, they kind of know what the service is that they're getting.
Okay. Right now, I'm actually running a special because I'll be 6 years of doing the readings and the energy work and stuff, because I'm also a Reiki master. And I do theta and a few other things. But for Angelic Comfort, I am running a $25 special for half an hour for a reading or spiritual guidance. So go ahead and sign up. I do them over the phone, and then you get an MP3 recording of that session. That's all included. Sometimes Skype, but not all the time, because sometimes, if I'm just getting out of work and I'm looking like I've been working in a 130-degree kitchen all day, you're not going to see me on Skype. You'll pretty much mostly phone. I do energy work. I do Reiki and theta healing. Those are in 15-minute increments. I can do them in person, or I do them distant. Energy is energy. Like when you do readings, when I do readings, I pick up on the person's energy. Pick up on their energy. I hear what spirits have to say, what spirits are around. The cards are telling me. I don't need to be in person to be able to know what's going on in a person's life or what's happened. So that's another thing. In Reiki, with the energy work, with attachment removals, with distant clearings, anything like that. Again, it's energy and the transfer of energy. And with the attachment removals, I actually do what I call a soul separation from my body. I don't call it an astral projection because I don't go into the astral plane in the ethereal area or cross the veil. I do it still within the physical plane. So same thing with remote viewing is done on the physical plane. So it's a soul projection where I'll go and take care of that, along with incorporating energy work and the use of the angels to help me. So yeah, it's several different things. If they just go to the website, www.angelic-comfort.com, they will be able to see a lot of the services that I offer under the readings and energy work page.
And then one last question I have for you. It's actually not in the chat, but there was somebody that asked this earlier. When you're going about doing a cleansing and you're doing a clearing for individuals, is there a certain procedure or certain things that you yourself have found to be beneficial?
When I'm doing a clearing, a lot of times when I have them on the phone, we'll also do a chakra alignment. And depending on how badly the person needs it and needs the alignment, see, chakras are our energy sources, our energy fields within us. And they're when they're vibrating, when they're aligned right, when they're vibrating correctly, and you are at a higher energy level, vibrational level yourself, then we're healthy. We're very healthy. Disease goes away, tiredness goes away. So a lot of times I'll use like what I call my tincture bells. I'll use those and walk them through a meditation of the ohms and the rams and the ahs and to get the chakras realigned and vibrating correctly. And the tincture bells kind of like even over the phone will start it, just go right down through and they'll feel it. So a lot of times while I'm doing a reading, people are getting energy work done along with that reading, whether they realize it or not. And a lot of times when the reading is done or the session is done, the guidance is done, they'll say, oh my God, I feel so wonderful. And I slept for the first time in weeks and I felt good. I don't feel sick right now. And, and just all this different stuff, because you don't just sit down and you just get, okay, this is what the cards say. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. No, not at all. If your session is going to go over half an hour, then it's going to go over half an hour. I'm not going to charge you more because you need that time. You need that work. Things need to be said. Things need to be done. So I'm going to end up doing what work needs to be done to help you. That's the whole point of it, is to be able to help you. So there's more that I do behind the scenes than I do that people see when I do my guidance and counseling sessions or the readings and spirit communication, because I feel that it's all encompassing. It's all encompassing. And I don't charge high rates because I want everybody to be able to afford it. I feel everybody is deserving. Do I charge? Yes, of course I charge. It's my time. It's my energy. My time away from my kids. And it can be draining. Just like you would go pay a mechanic, just like you would go pay your doctor for their skills, for their help. It's the same thing with me. It's my time. It's my energy. It's the time away from my kids. And you do get tired. There's a lot of work that goes on during each session with me.
Could even tie that into like a masseuse. A masseuse
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
they need
Exactly.
a charge as well. You got to pay for the table.
Exactly.
So, but
Exactly.
thank you so much, Renee, for coming on, and thank you for letting everybody kind of know more about you and kind of where you came from within what
I came
what
from my mom.
right. I'm pretty. I hope I did too, but I could
I
be from
know.
another
Actually,
world. Never
I
know.
think the mothership dropped me off, the planet Zebulon, but they won't take me back. So,
But I'm sure a lot of individuals have always been curious to learn more about you. And I mean, with the Loving Whisper show that we do together, they get to know each of us, more personally as well. But I really wanted to get you on here so that anybody and everybody, maybe they don't watch the Loving Whispers, maybe everybody else will be able to see who you are and the things that you do and the positivity and the inspiration you bring in the field.
thank you for having me on. I'm, very appreciative and grateful, and it's very humbling. And I'm just thank everybody who listened in tonight, who, just wanted to learn a little bit more. I find that awesome. So thank you.
And as always, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This was another episode of our Paranormal Stories. If you are interested in contacting Renee or finding out more information as well, there is information below this video in the description, and you can click on the links to follow and get in touch with Renee if you want to ask her any private questions or things like that. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be back this upcoming week. We have a live stream investigation coming up Saturday, and I'm going to try to do something special Friday night for everybody. And then we have another interview next Sunday as well. But everybody have a beautiful evening, and thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, if the spirits are talking, I think it's time we listen. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you later.
Good night, everybody.